I'm in Max. You are listening to Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. I'm in Max. Pursuing the RPG hobby with reckless abandon.
Why? Oh, I need to change the scene. Why, hello! And it's not saying that we're streaming.
I'm not in charge of this, so...
Doesn't it usually tell you when you're streaming?
Sometimes. Oh, they can see me.
Oh, they
so
can see you. Okay. All right, there we go. Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us for Season 27, Episode 3 of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
And I'm Kimmy.
And it's just the two of us. But Kimmy's back.
Yay! I'm so excited to talk to adults.
We've missed your face.
Yeah. Oh, so...
In this episode of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast, Leatherneck writes in about lessons learned from online gaming. Mo asks about games that address challenging topics, and Ben from Tejas sends us a GMing exercise. But first, if you'd like to email us, you can email us at happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. That's happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. We have a forum, happyjacksforum.com. That's happyjacksforum.com, and we're on the social medias. happyjacksrpg, all one word, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and MeWe. And if you want to watch the show live, you can go to happyjacks.org/live at 7:09 p.m. Pacific time every Friday. Most Fridays.
Yeah, a lot of Fridays.
We've had a few cancellations.
Yeah, that's what happens in pandemic times.
Yes. Well, I have so many house projects. It's like I'm in the middle of this, but okay.
Yeah.
I'm painting my house, which is an epic undertaking.
Yes, it really is. And I did want to make one announcement about Rainbow Railroad. Mm-hmm. So we are slowly working at getting all the awards and the rewards out. So I know that some of you have reached out and been like, "Hey, I'm super patient, but it's been a few months and I apologize. There was a pandemic and then there was a baby and just things have kind of spiraled." I had confidence in my ability to be a very productive new mom. And I'm just gonna
if either of those things had happened but not the other,
it would have been
no
fine.
problem.
But pandemic and baby on top of that, even my amazing organizational skills sort of and a Kickstarter, all those three things together. So even my amazing organizational skills kind of fell behind. So I am taking care of that. You are not forgotten. There's a spreadsheet with all of your names and all the rewards you're getting. I'm still in touch with Dice Envy and a lot of our the people who donate their awesome gifts. Some of them are sitting right here next to me and just needing me to drop them in the mail. So I apologize, but you are not forgotten. You are very appreciated. We love that you participated in Rainbow Railroad. Please do it again next year. Know that all those things will not happen. This perfect, mix of baby, pandemic, and, Kickstarter, all these things. So, yes, we have not forgotten you. We love you. Please be patient. Please.
I had Zanku chicken for dinner.
I can tell.
And Zanku, no, you can't. If you were here, you would know.
I can see you belching on the thing.
they give you those little cups, and I think it's like mashed garlic.
Oh, yeah.
That's like mixed with maybe olive oil or something, and then it's mixed until it's like a paste, right?
Yeah.
And I love that shit.
Yeah.
So I'll take a pita and I'll break it into little pieces and I'll scoop some out and
Yeah.
Wow. I'm almost clearing myself out of the room with each burp. It is amazing. It's all garlic all the time. Wow.
So if you just disappear, I'll know what happened. It's your burps became even too much for you.
I'm really glad there's no one here right now, because it would be. I mean, I'm not kidding. That burp I just did.
Yeah.
The garlic smell just hung right in front of my face. It was like I'm wearing a mask.
Yeah, you're getting all these bad habits. So when we all end up back in the studio, we're just gonna be like, "Oh God, we're gonna break you."
Well, I have to go to work every day, but on weekends it's like, I don't need to shower today. No one's gonna see me. Who cares? I let my hair grow for like a 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
No, my hair.
Oh.
First off, pure white.
Really?
Yes, completely white. You can see a little bit of the male pattern baldness, but not as much as I thought you would. I mean, I do have stubble coming up here, but when after day 3, it looked like I was wearing a halo, because it's just like this like white shine. Yeah, it was crazy.
That's That's funny.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
All right. Lessons learned from online gaming from Leatherneck. Hello, Happy Jacks crew.
Yeah.
This is Leatherneck, fresh from troubling virtual gaming. Like most of us, my friends and I have been social distancing and trying virtual tabletop to get our game fix. Here comes a burp. I use the mute button just for Canada.
They appreciate it.
They will. We had some problems, and this is my lessons learned. And there's another one coming up. I hope this helps someone.
We'll tag team, I'll say. Please have a work from home drink. Absolutely. Not the first. After 3 attempts to game, with one being a complete failure, tag team Stu, go.
One being a complete failure.
You were following along?
No, I was trying to burp. It's stuck now.
Oh.
So now
it's
like
just shy. It's like got performance anxiety.
And usually if I drink a little water, it's like, oh, I'll make a little room, and blip, here it comes. But not this time. Now it's still stuck right there. Now, a complete failure due to communication. We have met and discussed the issues and found potential solutions. What went wrong? Number 1, the voice chat in the virtual tabletop didn't work for everyone. Boo. 2, people became upset that things were not completely ready and there were problems. 3, players got lost in some maps and couldn't find their figures. 4, boisterous table talk and communicating with table neighbors caused confusion for everyone. Oh, that's bad form.
Yeah.
5, bad die rolls. 6, too many trying to help with technical issues at the same time. That's always helpful.
Yes.
7, delay of die rolls from the server. 8, novice at virtual tabletop trying to use too many features. That reminds me of the first online game that I ran. Potential solutions. Voice chat. Have an online gathering several nights before the virtual gaming session to work out the voice problems. Be ready for a plan B if you plan to use
the virtual tabletop.
The virtual tabletop voice system. See, that
has
one I
issues
didn't.
That can, yeah, you,
that's
you
it.
Just went.
It's like, I'm not coming out until you unmute that mic, motherfucker.
It wants to be appreciated.
Right. I think my guts hate Canada. And they want Canada to be pissed off.
I feel like your guts hate a lot of people.
They do.
Like most of the time, it's like you hate their guts, but your guts hate everyone else.
Yes, my guts are full of bile.
Bile. The voice system has issues that cannot be worked out.
Alternative voice communication. Skype, free and can be used on mobile devices. Up to 22 connections in a conference call. Not a bad idea. Skype is reasonably smooth for voice only.
It is. I think there have been some improvements. I haven't used it since the pandemic. I know that they did some updates. It's still like kind of clunky software compared to other things that are out there now, unless they fixed that in the last few months.
Well, Microsoft bought it, so no.
Yeah. Well, and it's plus it's one of the older voice talking systems. So it at the time when it came out, like cutting edge, amazing. We've used it a lot for different things when people call into the show from remote and stuff like that. But since then, it's such a bloated program for what it really does.
Right.
So.
Discord requires someone to host the server. Further research required for software and browser use.
Yeah. Discord is good. It's a free option. Someone does have to host the server. It's very popular for gaming, both video game coordination and tabletop gaming.
TeamSpeak requires a paid server. Many online game groups already use TeamSpeak. Software needs to be installed on a PC, free, or a mobile device. $1. I've never used TeamSpeak. Have you ever used TeamSpeak?
I used it when I was in a guild in WoW. I'm pretty sure that's the one we used.
Bobcat says TeamSpeak is junk.
Yeah, it's not great.
See, now they're flowing free.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's not great either. It's also kind of older, I think, if I remember correctly.
Steam Chat requires a Steam account and Steam installed on the computer. An app is available for both iOS and Android.
I have not used that.
Yeah, they're by Zoom, which we're using right now. Many people already have Zoom set up and ready to use. That's probably true, especially if they're working from home.
Yeah, and they have a bunch of features that they've come out with in the last few months, just because of necessity.
Right.
So I can now run a class of 36 kids with it, and they can raise their hands with little buttons and stuff. So
Oh, that's fantastic.
it's kind of interesting. Yeah, it's a little weird, but yeah, it's cool. The one thing I wish it did is, and this would make it even better for gaming too, is you can only have one camera per person.
Uh-huh.
So as a presenter, I can have the camera showing me, or I can have it showing my desktop. As a teacher, I'd love if I could like split the screen, like an OBS or something, and have like part of my little square be me and part of my square be like another camera that's facing down, so I could do like a math problem or something.
That sounds like a good upgrade for Zoom to be working on right now.
It would be fantastic, and it would be fantastic for gaming too, because as the GM,
you have the map and you, yeah.
Yeah, you
Or
could have
anything.
your map there, and you could move people's pieces rather than using often very clunky online software, which is another thing that he was talking about for the map, which sometimes can get really confusing, and it can be easy to lose track of whose piece is where and stuff like that.
Right.
So I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm skipping to like the map part, which is the next little subheading.
Phone teleconference. iOS is limited to 5, and Android is limited to 10 people. 10 people should be enough for a game. If you have more than 10 people in an online game, you're asking for it.
Yeah. Even in person, you're asking for it.
Right. Further research required for cross-platforms.
Yeah.
Maps. Avoid using overly large maps. I learned that myself. Small and medium-sized maps. Hold on. Yes, Zachary? No, I do not. My son is cleaning his closet. Small and medium-sized maps are easier for players to get and keep their bearings. An idea is to keep the virtual maps smaller than what will fit on your real-world gaming table. Break up large detailed mapped areas into smaller maps. Do not zoom in and out of a detailed city map for action scenes. See, that's what I tried to do when I ran that GURPS fantasy game. Mm-hmm. I made a super high resolution map of the entire city, but you could zoom in and like, here's an alley and here's the hexes that each represent 2 meters or 2 yards or whatever they use. So the whole entire map could be a combat map. If anywhere they wanted to fight, I could find that location and zoom in on it, and everyone could look and move their pieces and everything. And I crashed it because it was like a 16 gigabyte image file.
That's very ambitious of you.
It would have been so awesome if it had worked.
Yeah. I feel like it could have. Like, you just need a different way of doing it.
I wouldn't be surprised if I had brought down whatever gaming service I was using at the time. Because it was big file. This is a long time ago. This has got to be, 8 years ago?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean...
like, nowadays, you could, if you were using Zoom and it was running on your computer, you could just share your screen and it probably would be fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And virtual tabletop, break up large detailed maps. Do not zoom in and out of detailed cities. Instead, have an overview map that is viewable in whole screen on a screen and separate detailed maps for action scenes. That's a good idea. Mm-hmm. Communication control. Many gamers are used to a boisterous table talk and conversation with neighbors.
What?
Right. Well, we stream, so we've trained ourselves not to do that. But if we never streamed, we'd be jabbering all the time.
I feel like the listeners are like saying, "No, you still talk like all the fucking time." We're better than we were, but it's still something that's like
we're way better
cats.
than we were before we streamed.
Yes, no, 100%. And even when we started streaming, or even when we started actual plays, like we learned not to order Chinese food and sit there eating it.
I miss those days. That was awesome. Except the garlic
cheese
chicken.
platters and
yeah.
glittering night. Oh man, I'm so sorry, people.
Charcuterie.
Yeah.
An idea for keep small screen separated details. I'm communication control. Sorry, boisterous table talk and neighbors. Such communication is to be done through text chat. Good idea. Mm-hmm. I think there are people that sometimes will use Slack for that, even when we're sitting here at the table.
Yeah, we do that a lot, actually. And as a GM, I've done that and you do that all the time. You Slack people.
Yeah.
Private information or things that are like communiques. You did that in Exodus. You do that in all the vampire games a ton.
Either done through text chat, either to the group or one-to-one. When too many are talking at once, there should be an agreed-upon polite command from the GM/host that quiets everyone and allows voice communication to continue. Try to keep voice chat to one person speaking at a time. Well, yes.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, no one understands what's being said.
The new thing for Zoom that they did for the teachers, you can actually run a meeting where nobody's allowed to talk until you unmute them. So you can go through and make them raise their hand and unmute them individually, like as they raise their hands, and that's the only way they can talk.
That's excellent.
Yeah,
that's a brilliant idea.
It's not good for a game, probably. That's a terrible game, but
Depends.
for a teacher, I appreciate that.
Depends on your table. I can see some GMs wanting that kind of power. When technical issues occur, only the designated technician and the person with the problem are allowed to communicate verbally. All hints and suggestions are to be sent to that technician via text. Wow, you must have had a clusterfuck of a technical issue. To come up with that.
This strikes me as someone had like a small mic problem, but when you have a table of nerds, like all 5 people were shouting how to fix the problem at the same time simultaneously.
Right. Open the control panel. Click on that.
Yeah, just like that. Nobody could hear what anybody was saying. Nobody could follow any directions. Yeah.
Too many virtual toys. Yeah.
Yeah.
The GM host should follow the rules of keep it simple, stupid. If possible, try virtual toys in advance with other players. If not able to, forgo those virtual tabletop toys.
Yeah.
Virtual character sheets should not be required if it isn't required at a real-world table. I agree.
Yeah.
Unlucky die rolls. There is no situation available to replace the virtual tabletop random number generator. Most GM's hosts are unwilling to move their work from one VTT system to another because it takes a fuck ton of time to put it on one or the other. Yeah. I do remember that. Even if a player is unhappy with their perceived bad die roll streaks, couldn't they? Well, I don't know how some of these systems work. They might integrate the die roll into actually what happens at the table.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
Couldn't you just let the players roll? I mean, assuming you have a trustworthy group.
That's what I've always done, because it's like there's a million. I know Jason has run some stuff where he used like a virtual roller and stuff like that, and there's a couple good ones out there. But like when we did our online GURPS game that Mook ran and stuff like that, it's like just let them roll at the table.
Yeah.
If you don't trust them, you shouldn't be playing with them anyway. If everybody really wants, like for streaming, like I know people like seeing the rolls,
right?
Like from the audience perspective, not because they don't trust you, but because it's like, hey, that's interesting to see. But if you're just playing with friends, like, just don't worry about it. Like, just roll dice.
And
then when someone cheats, you can write in another email about it.
Right. Oh yeah, content.
Content.
And the other thing to remember about dice rollers is that most of them use pseudo randomly generated numbers. They don't use true randomly generated numbers. If you go to random.org, I think they actually have come up with some way. I don't know. They look at to get the seed numbers for the randomizer. It looks at like some static radio transmission or something. I don't remember exactly how they do it, but they found something that's truly random.
Wow.
And then that gives them their seed number for everything else.
Yeah.
So
most of them are based off like the clock on your computer and stuff, so they're not super random.
And I mean, and there have, if you've ever, we talked about this years and years ago, back in the day when online gambling was real popular, especially online poker playing. There were people who were able to figure out. They'd play on the same system, and they were able to figure out by the hands they were getting. After a certain number of hands, they could figure out either the seed numbers or the algorithm that was used to figure out the random number.
Oh.
And then they could start predicting them.
Yeah.
So then suddenly you know what everyone else's cards are.
Yeah.
Which, wow.
Yeah.
That's very sophisticated. But when you're dealing with, if you can cheat and actually make as much money as you want, you're going to have a lot of people who are going to try to do that.
Highly motivated.
Exactly.
Patience required.
Patience required. Virtual tabletop is new to many gamers, and problems should be expected. Patience, empathy, and understanding will help everyone at the virtual table have an enjoyable time. Gaming is an escape from the stresses and troubles we are experiencing. However, we may find our stress levels are higher than normal, and we rage or snap at our friends. Remember, we are friends, and as always, we will hug and make up at a safe social distance.
Yes. It is. It's a whole new world for everybody, like figuring out how to do literally everything online. So yeah, I mean, there's a learning curve. Don't be afraid to like mess around with different tools. Like it sounds like you've tried a bunch of the different voice ones, and yeah, different people are going to prefer different ones. And a lot of it will depend on which one they're most comfortable with.
Right.
So.
And also, I only used these years ago, and I'm sure they've gotten better now. But it's a lot of fucking work to set some of that stuff up if you're the GM. And somebody say, "Can we use the different systems?" Like, look, no. And if you can play, theater of the mind where you're just using teleconferencing software, that's as easy as it gets.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what a lot of people, that's what most of the Happy Jacks games are doing. I know Jason was using some other stuff too. But yeah, there are some really, if you are doing D&D, there are some really great online platforms for that specifically,
right.
But it's really hard if you're using other games. And if you're using virtual tabletop, it sounds like you're using probably a different system. Actually, virtual tabletop is actually very cool. It's like older software a little bit, but I'm actually working to build Decuma in there.
Oh, so cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I need to answer the chat room again. For those of you who arrived late, I had Zanku chicken with this garlic olive oil paste, and I ate a lot of it.
Yeah. I'm glad
Just be glad you're not here witnessing the burps in person.
Yeah.
Because it is rank.
Yeah.
You get to read the next 2 emails since that one was so long.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just glad that we're circling back to the important parts of the show to reiterate the Zanku burping parts.
Well,
all right.
My gastrointestinal system has always been a subject of the show.
Absolutely.
Happy Jack's RPG and Stu's gastrointestinal system podcast. That was actually the original name. But
it just was too long for hashtags.
I couldn't find the URL.
Yeah.
The URL was already taken.
So weird. Who knows? All right.
Fucking
games
squatters.
that address challenging topics from Mo. Hey, Jackers. Happy Friday. I love seeing some of the innovations in gaming. It seems gaming started off as wish fulfillment and has grown and matured in some awesome ways. Some games outright address some challenging subjects. Bluebeard's Bride and Harlem Unbound come to mind. What in a game attracts you to engaging in challenging topics, and which leave you impressed by the attempt but reluctant to engage? What seems to be the difference? Pergunta dos. Pergunta dos. I'm not great with other languages. I'm sorry.
I will look that up. It looks like Spanish.
I would guess Spanish. Yeah, because dos I know. That I know. A technical question. In the new reality, why don't we go let's talk about the first part first.
Question. That means question.
Pregunta. Oh, yeah.
In Spanish.
I know that.
Pregunta.
Pregunta. I feel like there's supposed to be a little thingy over one of the...
It doesn't show it in on Google Translate, but but I didn't type it in with one, so it may just be showing me what I typed.
I got pretty good Spanish in college when I took it. I took 3 years of it in college, and then that was a really long time ago now. So, all right, let's do the first part, and then we'll go to Pregunta dos.
Okay.
So, what are some... what in a game attracts you to engage in challenging topics, and which leave you impressed by the attempt but reluctant to engage? And what seems to be the difference?
I'm still in the wish fulfillment phase. For the most part. The thing that I thought was interesting, and where did I see that article? Was it in Polygon? I can't remember where I saw it, but someone posted an article that they had come up with an alternative for the races in D&D. Mm-hmm. And instead of using races, you had backgrounds. And you could pick and choose. Did you see that article? Yeah,
they were doing that. And now they're actually, we can go into a whole spiel about what WotC said lately. But
they're talking about the fact they're going to change it.
Yeah, they were talking about the next edition. Now that, people have slowed down on buying 5th edition, they have to come out with the next edition.
Well, yes.
They're like college textbooks. So the next edition, they talked about doing that instead.
There's only one player's handbook. 4th edition, you had 3 players' handbooks. You had 2 or 3 DMGs, plus, they came out with tons of books for 4th. And 5th, it's like, no, we're just going to come out with a few things here.
Yeah, they'll fix that in the next edition, probably.
Yeah, they probably risk. Well, we didn't make as much money with the 4th edition. And everyone hated 4th edition.
Yeah, so that's something that they've talked about doing. So I do hope they do that. because I think that's 100% what they should do. You should get physical attributes only from, from, whatever race or species you choose. And then your character part, what your personality, beliefs and stuff happen with your background. So, sorry, I went off on a tangent there. Now I lost what we're talking about. To engage in challenging topics. I think the thing that attracts me to engaging in challenging topics are topics that I either feel like I need to learn about. If I'm in a group where I feel like I'm in a safe place where I can learn about that, and put myself in someone else's shoes in a safe place with people who are more informed about it, because I think that's a really important aspect of it. Like if I, want to play a character where I am kind of exploring, a sexuality where it's not someone who's heterosexual. Like if I wanted to be a character who's bi or ace or something like that, like I would want to be at a table with it. It's a safe place where there were people there who were informed, where if I was like, hey, is this the right way to go about this? Like, is this, where I could like learn from it, not putting pressure on them to like teach me.
Right.
But like where it was, if I'm at a table with all people who don't know anything about that, me exploring that doesn't actually teach me anything. Right. So you need to be at a table with people who are informed about those things. And the other thing that attracts me to that is if it's something that I feel very strongly about. And like, for example, I'm gonna do shameless self-promotion here, but when I wrote Virgins and Vixens, it's all about, the tropes of women in fairy tales and folklore. And it's like, oh, the princess, the evil witch. So like, I want people who are interested in engaging in that game to want to question those things, to build on those things, to explore and make these tropes deeper, because you start out as a very tropey character, and as you play, you get to make yourself more complex.
Right.
So that's kind of my as a game designer, that's what I want people to want to who are interested in that, to play that game and explore that. So I feel like a lot of these games have something like Bluebeard's Bride and Harlem Unbound are very specific things in PBTA that like Bluebeard's Bride, it's very kind of feminist and kind of horror related, but it's about like strength in women and things like that. Harlem Unbound, I know a little bit less about it, but again, it's got a very specific thing that you're supposed to kind of explore.
Right.
And there's a lot of these PBTA games that are designed for that. Like, this is the theme of this. I want you to play this and explore that.
Right.
And what seems to be the difference? This is a very I feel like this is a question I'd put on a test where I really wanted kids to like prove they knew what they were talking about, because there's like multiple questions and explain why. I feel like the things that I'm reluctant to engage in are things that are games that have things that I feel like I don't know very little about, or that aren't my purview. Like, I feel very empowered to play games about feminism and being a woman or things like that. There's some things like, playing a game about being a person of color, like that's not me. So I feel a little reluctant to engage in that sometimes, not because, just because that's not my lane. So if I'm playing with people of color who are like, hey, come play this game with us, then I feel more empowered to do so. But I do have a little bit of hesitation, and I don't know that, different game designers like have different opinions. Some of them are like, no, I want you to play this game,
right,
to learn about this. And then some people are like, no, this game is made for these people and you're not one of those people. So it's kind of like, there's a little bit of reluctance sometimes to do that. There's one, God, I can't remember what the name of it is, because I'm running on like 4 hours sleep, not consecutive. Yay babies.
I warned you to catch up on your sleep.
Right. There is a PBTA game that was released fairly recently that's about cartels in Central and South America. I don't remember the name of it. It's gotten amazing reviews. It's really fantastic. But a lot of it has to do with the culture in Hispanic culture, and that's not a culture that I grew up in. So it feels a little odd to like step into that space, even though I've been told, I haven't actually read.
Almost like a tourist.
Yeah, and I feel like some of these games, that is their purpose.
Sure.
Like for Virgins and Vixens, I want people to play that game. I want, I had Dave and Rob play that game, and they both were like, I would never play this game on stream, but it was very interesting to play this game, sitting here with a bunch of women. That was, very informative. I learned a lot. So that's sort of the same sort of thing. If I was playing it with people who were of that culture, who were like, hey, come play this with us, I think that would be a little different. Although I have heard specifically, again, I don't remember his name, the writer of that game. It got a whole bunch of great reviews. I believe that he says he wants everyone to play that game to kind of experience it.
Right.
So again, there's just different people write games for different reasons.
Right. I think most of the people who are writing games that are doing this want everyone to play them.
Yeah.
Generally speaking.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of times it's like, they want it to be a tool for exploration.
Right.
They want it to be something where you can put yourself in someone else's shoes and build empathy for a little while. And yeah, just another busy John in the chat room says there's a thin line between exploring and exploiting. So you kind of have to write that line. If you're playing a game in good faith, if you're playing this game about cartels and you're playing it in good faith to enjoy the game the way the author wrote it, and that's different than playing the game and playing a trope and being the stereotype and leaning into that part of it, because I think that is not the point of it.
Right.
I talked a lot about that.
His second question, pregunta dos.
Oh yeah, a technical question. In the new reality, the most valuable commodity of a game is an online character keeper. Those don't come in books. Any thoughts or advice on finding tools for online play with different systems and games, especially if you're not on Roll20 or the D&D thing, and Roll for Your Party sucks? Mo. No. Dave, no.
Online. No, I have a good offline. Where is one? I've got a great offline character keeper. Oh, here's one right here. Yeah, it's on a piece of paper, and it never crashes.
It's a folder. Yeah, that's how I do it too.
And if I fuck it up, I can just print out another one. I don't understand. I mean, is the reason people want an online character manager so the GM and the player both have access to it? Is that the purpose of it?
I think maybe. And when I've done that, I've just had them take pictures and text them to me.
Right.
So
see, the thing is, I wonder about the tabletop, the virtual tabletop space at this point, because it almost seems like that people are trying to turn tabletop RPGs, at least in some cases, into an MMORPG experience. Do you see what I'm saying?
They want it to be seamless, and it can't be seamless.
But I mean, someone tried to do that once already. And they quickly came out with 5th edition.
Yes.
So I don't know. Now, obviously, that's a little different because that's where you're trying to emulate the MMORPG experience at a tabletop setting.
Yeah.
But they were also in the process of trying to digitize that to sort of try to create. Because I mean, for a lot of these people, I think that that brass ring out there is an MMORPG style game where there is one player sitting at the computer, being the game master, creating the stuff that's happening in real time as the players are doing it. I don't know if we're there yet. I mean, I applaud them for doing that, but that would be a whole different hobby.
No, yeah. I mean, the closest I think that we ever came to that, and we have come fairly close to that, are personal servers for MMOs.
Right.
So you take a game, you host it on your own server, you give yourself game master. It has a little bit of a different meaning for MMOs. Privileges, and you can create dragons, and you can create. We used to do that when I played Ultima Online, is we had home hosted servers, and we do games there. But again, that's not the same thing. The stats are not going to have. It's just not the same. If you want that experience, you can have that experience, but it's a very different thing. It's not going to be D&D. It's not going to be PBTA.
No.
You're not going to have someone who is role-played in MMOs extensively. It's not the same experience. So, you can type things out all you want and, emote. And, I guess, we can do it over, at the time we used Ventrilo. It was really back in the day. Speaking of old
God, I haven't heard that word in a long time.
Yeah. So, lots of things. But yeah, I feel like they want that, and it's just never going to quite be that. And I'm not. I guess I've even as the GM, I've never been the GM who really wanted to see everybody's and have every copies of everybody's character sheets.
Right.
Like I take notes when we're doing the game, you know, when we're doing session 0 about, and I take notes as we go about the characters. But it's like whatever your XP is or whatever your, you know, armor class is or whatever, I'm just going to ask you like at that moment.
Right.
Like, hey, what's your AC? Okay, great. Not that I would ever run a game that had AC.
But the roll for your party thing, I don't even know why anyone would do that. I mean, seriously. I mean, if you got a player that you think is cheating in dice rolls, they're cheating in a role-playing game.
Yeah.
It's like cheating playing solitaire. It is.
Well, yeah.
Except, actually, it's worse than cheating playing solitaire.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's other people involved in the game.
Yeah, that would be the one difference.
What is the point?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I think that there's a lot of really easy ways to do it. Honestly, at this point, I think what I would do is just have people make their character sheets into PDFs and upload it into Google Drive.
Right.
Make a Google Drive folder. Like, there's a million things that are super easy to do. They've got apps for free now, so it's like even if they don't have a scanner, you take a picture of the page and they can switch it to a PDF and they just upload it all from their cell phones. And then you have everybody's nice little PDFs of their thing. If you really wanted to, go find an online fillable PDF for character sheets and just have everybody keep them on there. And then you as the GM can just look at them. And yeah.
Now, as far as an online multiplayer dice roll, there's was it Roll Dice with Friends?
Yeah, there's a
few of those now because that's something that people really wanted because they don't trust each other. But way everyone can see the dice roll, right?
Yeah.
That's basically everyone's looking at the same instance of a screen. Someone does whatever command it is to roll the dice, and everyone sees the result.
Yeah,
right.
I think mostly that became popular because of streaming, because people want to see the dice.
Okay.
I think that's mostly what it is. I mean, I'm sure there's tables that care. I've never been one of those, but I think that's really where it came from. And I think people see streamers do that, so then they feel like they should do it. And you can. I mean, that's great if you want to. It's kind of cool. Like, I guess if you're really into the role-playing aspect of it, being like, oh, I rolled a 4, like, kind of ruins it when the GM can just see it and be like, you know, oh, this is what happened. But I don't think most people do that. I think they're I rolled a 4.
I wonder if he's talking about roll for your .party, which is actually an online dice roller.
Oh.
I'm just looking at this. Cool. It's got an X card.
Oh.
And it's got all the different kinds of dice, and those look like fillable things where you can put in how many, so you can do any kind of dice pool or whatever.
Oh, nice. Oh, I think Jason used this.
But maybe he says it sucks. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look pretty, certainly.
Oh, yeah. It might be just functional and not aesthetic. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. But when I opened it, it gave me roll for your .party/room, and then it has this one says strongly equal giraffe, which must be like an assigned room.
Oh, okay.
So I can give that once I log in, I could probably give that link to other players, and they would all see the same page. Yeah, I'm assuming.
Cool. Yeah.
Huh.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, I like that. I really like that as an X card. That's cool, because that is one of the things that's a little bit hard over online gaming. Like you can. There's a million things you can do the hand signs. You can type it in chat. You can do all these different things. But if there's literally just an X card there that you can click on and maybe it doesn't say who did it, that's fantastic. Especially if you're streaming, because then then it's like you're not really sure who ticked the X card. And you're like, okay, well, we're going to pull away from that.
There is the way to do the X card right there. I've been complaining about safety tools for so long. If everyone's in this thing and it's anonymized and you can't tell and someone clicks on the X card, great. We're moving on. That's the way that shit should be working. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to, you can't do, I mean, you could do that in person. Like, I love the function of the X card, but that is one of the drawbacks of doing it in person is everyone then looks at you because you tagged the X card. And I know people who have not done it when they should have in games because they were afraid of that pressure.
Right.
So yeah, if you can just click on it anonymously and nobody knows it's you.
I just clicked on the X card and it brought up a dialogue window. It says, If you would like to be specific about the content requiring your use of this safety tool, you may do so here. If not, you may leave it blank. I'm clicking OK. And it said, oh, it just brings up a pop-up. Someone played the X card.
That's cool.
That's
I like
awesome.
That. Yeah.
What an interesting.
Very nice.
That is interesting. Now the graphics suck. The graphics suck. I mean,
Okay.
It looks the images of the dice look like that I made them.
Oh, that's bad. Okay, well maybe that's why it's why they
But
say
it's got a
sucks.
lot of functions. It's got a D4, D6, D6P, which I'm assuming needs pool, like you do a
Oh.
dice pool, like a D6 dice pool. D8, D10, D12, D20, DF. It's a DF. I'm going to see what a DF is. Sorry, I'm now interested
okay.
in this. It gave me a blank. Oh, fate dice.
Oh,
probably a fate
wow,
die.
they've got everything.
Yeah, and then it has
That's
a
pretty
spot
cool.
for tokens, cards, labels, and then if you want to have different dice colors, and then also you can fast forward and rewind the dice rolls that have happened. So if you like, oh wait, what did you roll for that? I don't remember. You can go back.
Oh,
That's
I like
pretty
that.
cool.
Yeah,
That's a neat
okay.
thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that in my bag of tricks. Thank you, Mo, for teaching us the thing and also asking very detailed multi-step questions.
That is in fact what you meant by roll for your party sucks.
And if it's not, you should check that thing out.
Because the graphics suck, but
yeah.
it looks like it's functional.
Maybe. We'll see.
All right. Thank you very
All right.
much, Mo.
Yeah. A GMing exercise from Ben in Tejas.
That's
Salutations.
That's Texas in Spanish.
Oh, okay.
Soy de
good.
Tejas.
Pregunta dos. All right. Salutations, salacious douchebags. You are the game master. The party consists of a retired space wizard, a farm boy with undiscovered powers, a smuggler, and his space alien co-pilot.
Okay.
I have no idea what we're talking about.
Very innovative. I'm excited
Yeah.
so far. I like the idea. Good setup.
Yeah, completely different, like nothing I've ever heard of. The party just failed their role to escape the tractor beam of the enormous space Nazi base. The party deliberates and decides that they will hide from the space Nazis until they can take some of them out and steal their uniforms. Then they will sneak into a control room and disable the tractor beam before making their escape. How many times do you ask them to roll, and for what? May the Schwartz be with you, Ben from Tejas.
You want to go first, or should I go first?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. Just failed to roll to escape the tractor beam. Party decides they're going to hide, so I'm going to ask for some kind of stealth roll or concealment roll,
Yeah.
and there's going to be some kind of roll by the space Nazis to try to detect them. And since I roll so well, the game probably ends there.
Yes.
But
And they're doomed.
if they pass that roll and they clear the ship, or no, wait, Sam, no, he has a slightly different hide from the space Nazis until they can. Oh, that's right. They're going to club them and then take their uniforms.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to be able to get in there and get past them, so their backs are turned. So I would require that detection roll by the space Nazis. Then I would probably require another stealth roll because they're going to have to get out from there quickly and quietly, and then a very simple, quick combat to knock them out.
Yeah.
For something like that, when you're going after someone from behind, I would just make it a real simple brawl roll or something like that. And then I'm not making them... No! If I'm playing Call of Cthulhu, I'm going to have them make luck rolls to see if there is a uniform in their size.
This would be a very interesting game to run in Call of Cthulhu.
Yes, it would.
Like, what is at the center of that giant space Nazi base that it needs to be Call of Cthulhu?
Right, Cthulhu's eye.
It's giant.
Big gloomy eye.
Yeah.
Let's see. So
Drives people mad. That's where all the power comes from of the Schwartz.
there you go. Then they sneak into the control room and disable the tractor beam before they can make their escape. Probably another stealth roll, and probably some sort of technical roll to do that. And then, of course, as they escape, at that point, they're probably not being as stealthy. They're probably more trying to get to their ship as quickly as they possibly can. But they might not want to trigger a ship-wide alarm. So maybe I would require a stealth roll if that's their choice.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have guys waiting for them because while they've been gone, someone discovered
There's ship sitting there.
Well, they know the ship's sitting there because they brought it in
Yeah.
with a tractor beam. But someone's going to have discovered the naked guys, the naked space Nazis in the ship
Right.
or something. So I will have a firefight getting back to getting their ship back.
Yeah, and then a piloting roll at the end.
Probably a piloting role because they're going to have to make it out that very narrow opening thing on the space Nazi station.
I think I'd do that, except just divide that in half, and I would have them roll for about half as much stuff. Just take all of that and delete half of it, and that is what
you don't want them sneaking onto this Nazi space station.
No, but I mean, the systems
cakewalk.
I would run wouldn't have contested rolls. So if they make their stealth roll, there wouldn't be a contested roll by the Nazis to detect them. So the stuff, like a lot of the stuff you were describing there, they wouldn't have to have 2 rolls for it. It'd be 1 roll. I wouldn't be rolling. If they succeeded, great. If they failed, then they'd be detected.
Right.
So generally,
that's more of a system difference, not a GM preference difference.
Right. Yeah. Well, GM preference on system.
Well, yeah, it may not be the GM. It could be the players too. The players think,
It's so complicated.
Is that what we sound like? I'm gonna start talking like this in all my games. Let's do runs. Just so he sounds like that. Yeah. I think that was for most of it. Like definitely all the stealth rolls. It probably would depend unless they were going. Like I'd probably only have them roll the stealth rolls when they move to a different location. Like I wouldn't have them continually rolling stealth rolls through the whole thing. It's like, okay, now we're sneaking into this room. Okay, roll stealth again.
No, I only called for 3.
Okay.
I called for 1 to hide, assuming you're using stealth and you don't have another skill for concealment. 1 to get to the space, to get to the control room, and another one optional if they want to try to leave undetected.
Yeah.
I
probably also would not throw in the firefight at the end unless they failed some of their stealth rolls.
Well, I'm a dick.
I know you are. This is why we're talking about the difference. Like I probably, like for me, there'd have to be the domino effect of other things happening to trigger people to be suspicious or to sound the alarm to find those naked guys or whatever.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, cool. Now, if you go by what happened in what he's referencing, they came out and they were supposed to be guarding that ship, right? But then they left.
They were, yeah.
Someone's going to say, well, the fuck, I put 2 guys there. Where the fuck did they go? And he's going to go down there to try to find them and chew them out. Or he's going to check the coffee room or the break room and see if they're there.
Just leave a little sign, wait for coffee, back soon. Tape it to the ship.
But there's going to be a supervisor who's pretty hot under the collar wanting to know why his dudes aren't where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, especially when your price of failure is murder.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you get force choked. So, great.
All right.
I'm going to make sure my dudes are in a place. All right.
All right. Well, thank you, Ben from Tejas, for the very original scenario for the Game Master exercise.
Unlike anything I've ever heard of.
Yes, I like these. It was one of the. I can't remember who was sending those because he was sending them fairly regularly. But I like them. Yeah. I'm going to say Uncommon Man, but it's probably not Uncommon Man. It's probably the other person whose name I can't remember. And I just probably again attributed an email to the wrong person.
Yeah, they should write in and tell you.
Right, and I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
All right. That's it.
Awesome.
Anything else you want to say before we close it out?
No, we have some new games coming up. We had one just start this last week, and we have a new one started. Kurt is going to be running Lighthearted, which he's run on our stream a couple times as like a beta, and this is kind of the final version. He's got pretty art for it and everything, and that will be on Mondays, every other Monday.
Is that the Lighthearted that he's running?
That's the one he wrote, yeah.
Oh, okay, right.
So that's very exciting. He's done one-shots here before, but this is his first campaign of it.
Excellent.
So yeah.
And at some point, Call of Cthulhu is going to start back up, isn't it?
Yes.
And it is July. And
it is.
Is it in July that I'm going to be doing that?
There's a date. Yeah, there's a date. It's on go look at the calendar. This is why I put it on the calendar, so I don't have to remember on 4 hours of sleep, not consecutive.
I will look in the calendar. Someone's asking about a Decima update.
Oh, Decima update. Yes, the surveys went out. I made a mistake, so I had to stop the surveys. I'm spending tonight typing in a million things to fix it, and they should be back open by Monday. And yes, so they're doing well. It's very exciting.
You mean
Samantha's working on all the art. You can follow the updates on the Kickstarter page. I've been making sure to do them pretty regularly, so you can see art updates there. And yeah, continuing on. If you did not get your survey email, please let me know though, because you should definitely have gotten that by now, even if the link's not working because I had to close it because I messed up on one shipping thing. But not bad for my first Kickstarter.
I filled mine out in a timely manner.
Well done.
And
well
now
done.
I have to do it again?
No.
Oh, I don't? Okay, good.
No. If you filled it out, you don't have to do it again. It's just people who are just now going to fill it out. It's on pause right now.
Oh.
So they're hitting the link and it's like, you can't do this right now. And then they freak out and they send me an email because they didn't read the update. And then like 90% of running Kickstarter is answering questions that you've already posted the answer to. It's like teaching. That's what I'm good at.
All right. Okay.
Oh, yes. It's very easy to update your address. Survey open until we ship in like November.
What? I just started playing the song.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, you muted me. People in the chat room asked, I'm moving in 4 weeks. Is it easy to update the address? Yes. You can just log back in using that same link that was sent to you. And we're going to leave it open till like November. So when we actually do the shipping, so people can update their addresses as they move, because lots of people are probably going to move between now and November.
Or you could put my address down and I'll throw it in a corner and leave it here for 8 years.
That's true. That happens. And then eventually, like, someone else just takes it home and like, hey, cool.
No, that hasn't happened. All the stuff is still here. All right. I'm now going to play the song.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us for season 27, episode 3 of Happy Chicks RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
My name is Kimmy.
And thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week at 7 p.m. Pacific time at happyjacks.org/live. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
Reckless abandon, we pursue this hobby from Michigan to Australia and maybe East Timor. Be it reds or exile.
Why problem make when you no problem have you don't want to make? Why problem make when you no problem have you don't want to make?